Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the two most recent issues, which is the firing of Gozyu Unicorn's actress and the future of Sentai. We're not going to be so much touching on the future of like, is it going to be Universe Warriors? Is it going to be Metal Heroes? Is Super Sentai going to regenerate into Billy Piper? But more so talking about Gozyuger's future. And I'm recording this in advance because I'm going to be having some repairs done in my house, so I'm not going to be able to record. So I'm recording this in advance for, I believe, Wednesday's upload. The last video that went up should have been the Gozyuger 37 review, and if you didn't know, after the firing of Sumino's actress, they completely wiped her from the episode, which was crazy. When I first talked about the news, I wasn't sure if they were done filming or not, because we have like, what, 10 plus episodes left. I know Ryder has been filming super in advance, but I'm not sure how far ahead Sentai is. As far as I know, it seems like they're as far ahead as usual, so I wasn't sure, like, do they have a few episodes left of the film? 5, 2, 1? Are they just doing post-series content? Because I was thinking in that video, like, if they have already finished filming, why even say you're firing her? The show's over. Of course you might have stuff like the Versus movie and whatnot, but it just seemed weird. So I imagine they still have some stuff to film. So in that same video, I was like, okay, so maybe they'll have to reshoot or just reorganize what they're gonna shoot and like either recast or do a storyline where her sister gets the ring, and then the last 3, 4, 5 episodes are either reshot or completely shot from scratch with a new script. That's what I thought would probably happen, that we would see whatever they had filmed, and then they would reshoot some scenes for some of the last episodes, and then shoot whole new episodes with this new status quo. That's what I assumed, and then that very night, we got episode 37, and she was removed from it. Removed from the opening, they cropped scenes so that she wasn't in frame. Any scenes she might have had in the cafe, or when they were doing the fashion show thing, were gone. Like, she's completely erased, and apparently, I've heard some people say that this is because since the deal was like with her agency, and then now that's terminated, they can't use her likeness, so it's not so much like, oh my god, if kids see her, they're gonna underage drink. It's just they literally can't use her likeness, and like, what a mess. And the whole thing is a mess, and I can't help but think, like, how is this worth the hassle? Like, when this was going down, no one say, like, is this not worth it? Like, why blow the whistle on this? It's gonna cause an absolute mess for the last stretch of episodes, especially if this is the last season of Sentai. Even if it isn't, it's the 50th anniversary season, and now you're gonna have this whole last stretch of 10 episodes or so be an absolute chopped up mess. In all likelihood, even if they've already finished filming, they'll probably do some reshoots for the last few episodes. I imagine they'd want to at least make those last ones cohesive, but otherwise they're gonna have a handful of episodes that might end up something like this, that's at least in part chopped up footage. And this week, in addition to this week's episode being chopped up, they didn't have a preview for 38, which was gonna be Sumino focused, and I imagine that will be a lost episode, kind of like when Pokemon's like, something's happened, so we have to pull it from air. Like those, I talked about that in the previous video, like there was like a tsunami or something one time and they pulled some Univa episodes. I don't know if they ever released them in Japan, but I'm like, can we never see them ever? Like, I don't know. But anyway, it might end up being that, because they might be able to take 39, 40, 41 and do this like Frankenstein treatment, but if it's a focus episode for her, I don't think they could do that for this. So I think 38 might be a lost episode. And so I'm really curious, will it be off this week? Will it be off for multiple weeks? Will they reorganize it and we get less episodes? Like, I'm not sure if there was a rumor or a confirmation of how many episodes we were supposed to get, but let's say we were supposed to get 50 episodes. Could we get a scenario now where we might only get 45 because they have to take a few weeks off to stop and re-edit the episodes they have and refilm stuff or film new stuff or film a recast? Like, I'm not sure what's going on. This is like completely uncharted territory. Like, what a wild situation we're in. Like, has Sentai ever done that before, where they've had to be just preempted and writers been on there? Experience with this mainly comes from like US shows, where sometimes stuff is preempted or, you know, pulled from air because like a shooting happened or, you know, a storm or something, and they pull the episode and then it's eventually released, stuff like that. I know I've heard of that happening in Japan, but sometimes I hear that happens and then you just never see it again. But I can't remember that happening in Sentai as long as I've been watching this. The closest like situation to this was like way in a pre-Jew series, which I can't remember, was somebody got recast. I remember hearing about that it was like a Yellow Ranger, but I didn't know if it had to do with a scandal. I thought there might just be a storyline where one of the characters died and they had another one take up the mantle, but I haven't seen anything like this happen since I've been watching it, like I mentioned before. I've seen scandals break out after, but I've never seen something interrupt the show to such a degree, especially so close to the finish line. Like, the idea that they're going to just completely have to cut her out is a mess. Like I said, did nobody think, like, this isn't worth the hassle over the drinking thing? Like, apparently there's much possible bigger reasons for it to happen. The fact that at face value that could be like, oh yeah, underage drinking, she's for sure out. Like, for real. I can't believe there's people that are legitimately like, well, she broke the rules, so she got what she deserved. I'm like, really, Pleasantville? You know, it's not worth ruining a young girl's life, basically a kid, over. And again, there's supposedly much deeper accusations. I don't know how true that is, and the rumor is that, like, the affair rumor was made up because, like, they wanted her out. I'm gonna be honest, if the affair rumor was true, I don't even think that's a fireable offense. That's your personal life. Just don't make it a tabloid. I don't think kids are gonna find out about that. It's dumb. As people have pointed out, they've hired adult actresses to do roles, so this whole thing just seems weird. So, as far as what I think is going to happen, I really don't know. This is uncharted waters. I fully did not expect them to edit her out of the episode. Like, I first heard they edited her out of the opening, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's kind of like when they edited her out of the website. Like, it's just, you know, she's not on the credits anymore. But the fact that they have to chop around it, like, maybe it will be announced this week. I get a feeling we won't see an episode this week, although maybe put a chopped up 39 there instead, and it now becomes 38. But I'll be curious to see whether they like end up shortening the episode count and then have to shoot new endings, have to like re-chop things together. Like, I'm really curious if they take their time, are we gonna get a handful of episodes that are like 37, which are just as is, but then they chop out Sumino, or are they gonna shoot new footage and splice it in? And also, like, how is this gonna affect the storyline? You know, the last time I remember something like this happened was not really the same situation, but the closest approximation I can think of is, I know, like, Revice and the other shows that aired during the pandemic, not Revice, I'm sorry, 01, and shows that aired during the pandemic got, like, rushed and shortened, and I think, if I remember right, for 01 in particular, some of the plot lines got shuffled off to movies. I kind of remember that, but that's the closest I can think of, like, it's going to impact the storyline. Like, thankfully, Gozyuger doesn't have a lot going on in a lot of ways, but Sumino has one of the more ongoing storylines, so regardless of, like, okay, are they going to do chopped up episodes for the rest of the series, or reshoots, or a combination of both, I'm curious, like, okay, what do they do with this now? Are they just gonna do, like, 37 and just pretend she was never there? Although she was there in suit, but are they just gonna never address that we never see her in person again and peace conference it? Or are we going to, like I said, recast? Or are we going to do a storyline where her sister becomes the Black Ranger, or a new character? I have no idea what's going on. And it's crazy, like, the whole situation reminds me of that Black Mirror episode. I think there's 2 Black Mirror episodes like that, where you can just erase people. That's what it feels like. So I'll be immensely curious to see whether they just give us a chopped up season, a reshot season, or both. And if they do replace Gozyu Unicorn to one degree or another, how they do it. I've seen some people say we don't even need to replace her, just make it an all-male team for the rest of the series. But the thing is setting aside all the controversy and whatnot, the series is perfect to give a different character the mantle, because you have all these different characters wearing the different rings. Like I mentioned in the first video about this, we've even just had the Yellow Ranger temporarily be somebody else. So it's a perfect series to give the mantle to somebody else. So I don't know, what do you guys think will happen? Do you think we'll just get a completely chopped up last 10 plus episodes, or do you think they'll do major reshoots, and how do you think they'll handle the storyline? Anyways guys, until next time, Dawson Ryder signing out.